All right, call to order and roll call.
Chair Goss,
Present.
Commissioner Quinn,
Present.
Commissioner Waters,
Present.
Commissioner Blair,
Here.
and we have Vice Chair Noble, Commissioner Marino, and Commissioner Swap who are excused. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Everyone, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Welcome to the City of Kingman meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission on Tuesday, July 12th, 2022. We're going to start with the approval of minutes from our last meeting, the regular meeting minutes of May 10th, 2022. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the last minutes.
Do I have a
Second.
second? I have a motion and a second. Minutes are approved. Now, next we move to the consideration of public comments. Those wishing to address the Planning and Zoning Commission need not request permission in advance. Action taken as a result of public comments will be limited to the directing of staff to study the matter or rescheduling the matter for consideration and decision at a later pursuit. And this is pursuant to ARS 38-431. Do we have any public comment requests?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Then next we move to new business, which is a conditional use permit for case CUP 22-0003. A request from William Watson, applicant, and Summit Storage LLC, property owner, for a conditional use permit CUP to allow mini storage warehousing on property zoned commercial, service business C-3. The subject property is 2.98 acres and is located at 4035 North Stockton Hill Road. The property is further described as lots 22 and 23, Block R, Lake Mojave County Club Estates, Unit 3 amended. APNS 324-10-023B. Can we have a report from Rich?
Good evening, Chair Goss, members of the Commission. This is a conditional use permit for request for mini storages at 4035 North Stockton Hill Road. I'm going to wait for the, let's see here.
Computer's a little slow.
Just trying to make it full screen, but that's okay. Oh. There we go. The applicant in this case is William Watson, and the property owner is Summit Storage LLC. And as I mentioned, it's an approval for a conditional use permit to allow mini storage warehousing on property zone C3 at 4035 Stockton Hill Road. The property itself is currently zone C3, as I mentioned. Properties to the north, south, and to the east across Stockton Hill Road are also zone C3. There is an area to the west that's zoned R15A. This is a single-family attached home neighborhood with patio homes. Let's see. This aerial view shows the surrounding uses. So to the north, we have a movie theater and a retail, commercial retail strip center. To the west, as I mentioned, is a single-family area of attached homes. To the south is U-Haul with mini storages also on that property. And then east of Stockton Hill Road are several commercial businesses, including Northwest RV, tire store, as well as a convenience store and gas station. This is a close-up view of the site showing the physical characteristics. Generally, the land slopes to the east. There is a significant drainage flow that comes from the west, crossing the southwestern portion of the property, out the Canyon Shadows neighborhood. Then flows into some pipes that go underneath the U-Haul mini storage property, and then ultimately into another drainage channel that empties north of Safeway that empties into the Mojave Wash. Surrounding utilities in the area include a 8-inch sewer main to the west, also another 8-inch sewer main on Stockton Hill Road. And there's also a 12-inch main that would serve the site also on Stockton Hill Road. Some photos of the site itself, looking toward the southwest, toward U-Haul. And then this is kind of a full view of the site looking west toward the neighborhood, and then you have U-Haul to the left and the strip center and the movie theater to the right. So in accordance with our adopted procedures, the applicant followed the citizen review process. They conducted 2 neighborhood meetings back in April. They notified all the surrounding property owners within 300 feet by mail, and the site was posted as required. They reported a total of 7 attendees, and the attendees expressed some concerns regarding drainage as well as preserving views. The applicant reported in their report that his design responses were satisfactory to the attendees. We also sent out public notice regarding this hearing back in May. Of course, the hearing was postponed until the meeting tonight. We did post the site back in May and then again in June. 2 notices were published in the Kingman Minor, and we did receive 1 comment from a property owner in the area to the west that was in favor of the CUP. Received comments from several departments. Fire department commented on the need for a new fire hydrant to meet fire codes within the property. Also the need for them to, in their design, verify the distance and firewall requirements for one of the buildings on the north side of the property because of its close proximity to a building also on the adjoining lot. Unisource commented on need to review the utility plans for potential electrical easements prior to approval, and flood control did not actually have any comments. Engineering did comment, and their comments are within the report itself. So the initial conceptual site plan showed 356 storage units. The total gross floor area of all buildings on the site was a little over 63,000 square feet. There would be 80 units that were proposed to be 10 by 10, 275 units that would be 10 by 20, and 1 unit that was at 15 by 20. These units would be accessed through a security gate that would be set back about 35 feet from Stockton Hill Road. So there'd be enough room for cars to potentially stack and leave the roadway without going in or extending into traffic. They showed a single access drive to the site. There are paved internal driveways between the units. We do have a requirement in our code for a parking space to be provided. Those aren't required to be marked or painted, but they do have to be provided adjacent to the units. They are shown on the site plan. There'll be a need for both detention as well as landscaping on the site. They do show areas for those purposes on their conceptual plan. It is likely that the final site plan will be modified to ensure the project complies with all adopted codes, regulations, and possible conditions of approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So this is the initial, it's hard to read, I know, but this is in your packet. This is the initial conceptual site plan showing the layout of the site, showing 12 buildings and internal driveways surrounding the buildings as well. The things that you see in there that are marked as P, those are intended for parking areas. Subsequently, their engineer has prepared some more detailed plans. This is the more recent plan that was submitted. It does show a little bit of modification to the southwestern corner to accommodate the drainage flow through the area, it appears. I didn't attempt to analyze to see if the number of units had changed, but it's very similar with the layout. So this is the public hearing process for the conditional use permit. that is recorded in the new zoning code. CUPs are not now heard by the city council unless the decision of the Planning Zoning Commission is appealed. So as such, the commission has to make findings for the CUP approval. The first is that whether the conditional use permit is consistent with the objectives of the zoning code and the purpose of the zone in which the site is located. So this is, as I mentioned, mini storages. It does appear to be appropriate use for this property. The property is configured as a long, narrow lot, which probably is well suited for mini storage development. So it's a site that doesn't require a lot of frontage on the main road. So it appears to be appropriate. The second finding is that granting of the conditional use will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare. This includes property damage, nuisances, hazards, or traffic impacts that could be created. There are no apparent nuisances or hazards that could be generated by this fairly low impact and generally a quiet use. However, the commission may want to consider limiting the hours to daytime hours, essentially, or early evening hours. The P&Z, I'm sorry, the staff is recommending a limitation to be placed on that. Significant traffic is not expected to be generated. According to ITE, we would estimate maybe 9 to 16 trips at peak hours, which would be between 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning and 4 to 6 in the afternoon. The engineer did comment on need for a traffic memo to estimate the number of trips at peak hours, and also mentioned the need to align the driveway that is proposed with an existing driveway that's on the east side of Stockton Hill Road. It does appear generally that the conceptual plan has accommodated that concern, at least when it comes to the driveway alignment. Third item is that characteristics of the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area, and the CUP should only be issued when it's determined that the applicant has addressed certain issues to ensure that compatibility. The first one would be the bulk regulations of the C3 zone. Those appear to be met. That would be things like setbacks. The only setback requirement in the front is a 15-foot setback from Stockton Hill Road. There's a rear setback requirement of 10 feet as well. Those appear to be met on the conceptual plan. Maximum height of buildings is 50 feet. These are only proposed to be around 10 feet in height. As I mentioned, parking will have to be accommodated on the site. There's a requirement of 1 space per 1,000 square feet, so approximately 63 parking spaces would be required, but those could be accommodated within the aisles themselves. If an aisle is less than 27 feet wide with designated parking areas, it will need to be marked as one way. Also, the fire code comes into play, as well as determining some of the widths of the aisles. Next, the site appears to be adequate for and compatible, as I mentioned before, with the main warehouse use. We don't have any specific open space requirements associated with the use. There are no known noise, light, visual, or other pollutants that would arise, we believe. Architectural design standards would be applicable to this property. Metal material cannot be on more than 25% of the walls oriented toward the street, so that would be the side that faces Stockton Hill Road. The applicant did provide an elevation that and provided information that indicates that masonry will be used on the back sides of all the buildings, including those that face Stockton Hill Road. Architectural details for the side facing Stockton Hill Road will be required to avoid blank featureless walls, and these could be things like parapets and columns on that particular part of the building. Additionally, a landscape plan will be required to be submitted with the site plan review. 10% of the site will need to be landscaped. Next is on public utilities. These appear to be accommodated. As I mentioned, there will be a need for a new fire hydrant to serve the site, also with an 8-inch public water main, and that main will have to be located within a 20-foot wide water line easement. That'll need to be dedicated to the city. Unisource Electric mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, possible need for electrical easements, and that'll be reviewed during the review process for the building permit. And if there is any existing utility easements on the property, that will need to be shown on the plan. And any buildings would have to be built so they do not encroach into those easements. Signage and outdoor lighting also need to meet the requirements of the zoning code. The outdoor lighting requirements require that wall pack lights, which are kind of typically on these units, need to be fully shielded. Also, fixture units within 50 feet of a residential zone or public right-of-way would need to have an internal or external shield. And staff is recommending that no direct light source be visible from the subject property to the west of the site, because that is the residential area to the west. No dedications of right-of-way are anticipated to be needed. And there are no known historic, prehistoric, or natural resources on the property. So with that, the staff recommendation is to approve the conditional use permit to allow any storage warehousing on the property by affirming the findings that we just went over and attaching the following conditions. One, and comes from engineering, provide a grading and drainage plan and a drainage study to determine the 100-year flows and show how the runoff will be routed through the site. Two, the area required for the purposes of handling and routing stormwater shall be dedicated to the city as drainage easement. The width of the easement shall be determined by the city engineer. Three, provide a traffic memo to estimate the number of vehicle trips during peak hours. Four, verify that the proposed driveway will align with the existing driveway on the east side of Stockton Hill Road on the site plan. Five, mark internal aisles that are less than 25 feet wide that have parallel parking as one-way, and show this information on the site plan. Six, buildings shall be designed in accordance with our general site planning and architectural design standards, and this information will need to be shown on the building elevations that are submitted. Number seven, verify in the site plan the distance and firewall requirements for the building to the north, which is building I in the plan, where an existing building is on an adjoining lot. 8 would be the fire hydrant requirement and 8-inch public water main in a 20-foot wide waterline easement dedicated to the city. 9, show an existing public utility easements on the site plan and dedicated in additional easements that may be needed as determined by Unisource. 10, addition to the outdoor lighting requirements of the zoning code, no direct light source shall be visible from the subject property to the west of the site. And then finally, access to the site and operational hours, not including office use, shall be limited to 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. All days of the week. So that's the staff recommendation and conditions of approval, and be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Rich. Does anyone have any questions for staff?
No? Well done, Rich.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Sure.
What went into the decision of limiting the hours from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
It's a suggestion. It's just to, so that the site isn't open to the public during overnight hours where there could be noise or something that might disturb the neighborhood. So that's basically intended to ensure that.
Okay, thank you. I took a look at the U-Haul hours, and they don't open anytime before 7 and close anytime later than 8. So I was just wondering, but thank you.
Sure.
Are there any more questions for staff? All right, thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
All right, I'll now open this to public discussion. If anyone would like to come and address us, please do so and state your name.
Commissioner Chair, Commissioners, glad to be here out of Prescott. We're looking forward to building this storage unit there. We operate during daylight hours, basically, so more than likely, we're not going to be open till 10 o'clock at night. We know how the people commented on the elevation, the views from their properties to the west. which we will not block. They commented on lighting, which we addressed at that time. The lighting will be shielded. It won't be an all-night light thing. Strictly the basic hours of operation, the lighting. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Do you have any problems with the conditions they've stated?
None whatsoever. We've worked very closely with Rich and his people, and we had some good comments at our meeting with the staff, and look forward to doing this project.
Thank you.
Have you had any fires or anything break out in any of your units over time? Anybody storing anything?
We own 5 storages in the Prescott area. There hasn't been any fires. The one thing about this facility that most everybody doesn't have is it'll be completely electronically controlled. So getting in the gate, getting into the units, it's called a no-key system. There's no key required, just basically your cell phone. You enter your unit with a cell phone. People that don't have cell phones can have a key fob to get in and so forth. But the nice thing about this no-key system is that the locking mechanism on each door has a fire-sensitive, that would actually send a signal to, if there was a heat or fire in a unit, would actually send an information to a computer that somebody will monitor.
Great.
And say that there's something going on there. So we could easily notify the fire department, or probably even set it up so the fire department would be notified at the same time.
Great.
There's no live-ins, there'll be no live-ins on the property, strictly electronically controlled. So it's a pretty simple operation.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions for the applicant? No?
I do have one on the current, there's like several warehouses. There's one to the right in the front of the unit. And we've had a prior commissioner in here that voiced some opinion on it. Basically, there's like windows, and you can see storage doors in the inside of it.
That's the U-Haul.
That's the U-Haul.
That's U-Haul, yeah.
Yeah.
Right
So,
on the corner.
based on our new standards, it's not going to look anything like that with the 25%.
No, absolutely not, no.
I'm more speaking for the prior commissioner here, because I remember his opinions. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any more comments?
No?
No? All right, I'm going to close public comment and open up this item to the commission. Does anybody have any discussion?
No?
I've heard from neighbors that we need storage in town, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a good
Because
idea
they're
to get some
running-
more. Yeah.
Everyone I know, they're running at 98, 99% full.
Yeah, it's in high demand.
Yeah. I'm in favor of storage, and I do like the fact that the corner is lopped off there. I live fairly close to this, and there are frequently boulders, like, in the middle of the road.
Oh, yeah.
After that you're dodging with your car. So you really wouldn't want to be hit by what comes through that wash. So that's the back corner would be taken off anyway, even if it wasn't.
Yeah, we're stripping, that's a good way out of that flush area.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
It's a good use for that, because you got the Walmart on one side, and you got that strip mall right there next to it.
This one's actually further down the road. It's by the new Safeway and the U-Haul. It's between the.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have any further discussion, or does somebody want to make a motion?
We'll make a motion to accept staff's recommendation with the following conditions, 1 through 10.
I will second.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 through 11.
Any second that one?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call vote? Chair Goss? Approve.
Commissioner Quinn,
Approved.
Commissioner Waters,
Approve?
Commissioner Blair,
Approve.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion approved.
Great, thanks, Unica. All right, our last order of business is announcement by commission members, limited to announcements, availability, or attendance at conference and seminars, requests for agenda items for future meetings, and requests for reports from staff. No discussion on any of these items. Does anyone have a comment?
I do have a comment. Last year, I went to the meeting down in Phoenix, and I thought it was really informative. I don't plan to go, so one of you guys can go, but I would highly recommend it. So,
Which, is that the annual convention?
yeah, I'm sorry.
Is
the
that-
annual
okay.
planning and zoning
Is that the
commission.
one on the 24th?
I believe it
August,
is
yes.
down in Paradise Valley. It's a very nice convention.
I've been to all the 12 years I served at all the different places, and you get a lot of informative information from all the other commissioners there, and
Yeah.
very informative.
I actually
can't make
plan
it
to,
this year, but-
I plan to go and join them at the meeting, so that should work. We'll see.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, for sure. Any other comments? All right, then I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second? All right, I have a motion and a
I think that
second.
was an aye.
Yeah, and in the future for adjournment, it does not require a vote. If all the items are done and taken care of, you can just gavel everybody to be adjourned.
All right. See ya. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you very much.